Hey everyone, Rheyo here, and welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to make a video on the Fresh Start Worlds announcement that Jagex released yesterday because it's a pretty controversial topic and I think it's important that we speak up on it. I just want to say that this is coming from a good spot. If my friend didn't help me on Tutorial Island like 18, 19 years ago, then I would not be playing RuneScape or making content for it, but he opened the gate for me that I didn't know how to open, and here I am. I love this game, and it has brought me a lot of parallels and good times in the last almost 20 years of my life, and I want to see this continue. All that to say, I'm going to be as constructive as I possibly can, and I just ask that you as the viewer do the same. I'm not going to go over what this is because it's been discussed all over Reddit. It's on the homepage, everything. So if you aren't familiar with it, I would just go look at the page on runescape.com because that'll have all the information on it. I just wanted to say that where we're at because as a community, when Squeal of Fortune was released, we've been okay with it. We've been vocal about disagreeing with it, but our pockets have said otherwise. The reason why they keep releasing things like this and they keep making them stronger and stronger is because we as a community, whether it's like one person who spends a lot of money or a lot of people who spend a little, as a community, we are essentially okaying this kind of release. And, you know, it's going to be kind of impossible for that to completely go away because I could disagree with it, but then someone with more money has a bigger voice because their pocket's bigger. There's only so much I can do there. Just kind of keep that in mind that it's important to speak up because that is a power that we all have. And I think that this is a ridiculous release or announcement on purpose. And I think that's to see how much that they can get away with as a company. This is posted a month in advance with no extra content. Like it is just RuneScape. They're releasing RuneScape inside of RuneScape essentially with different perks and benefits, but there's no new bosses or anything. No new content. It is just rebranded RuneScape with high MTX and high revenue potential. It's, like I said, ridiculous on purpose because they want to see how much we push back. This is my thought. I don't know if it's true, but I have a strong feeling that this is probably true. I think that's just a business tactic. Just launch something ridiculous, see how much we're okay with, and then go with that, essentially. So speak up on what you disagree with and why, and provide clear, constructive feedback. So let's get into it. In short, I honestly think that an incentive for new players is an awesome idea because more players benefits everybody. But the thing that I have a big gripe with is how this whole entire thing is marketed as for new players only, which is just not true. I feel like Jagex thinks me as a player that I'm kind of dumb because a lot of these rewards reference things that they kind of poke at a feeling of nostalgia or a feeling that only veterans would have, like the tradable rares, especially the rare halo of returning. So this is a tradable rare and the gold halo is a tradable rare, but specifically this one, they each have their unique things that attract a veteran. This one is that it is a reference to the Disc of Returning, which is one of the first tradable rares. A new player has no concept of the value of the Disc of Returning. They honestly have no concept of the value of tradable rares in RuneScape terms. They might understand what a tradable rare is, like something that's released once and never to be released again, and it's tradable. And obviously, you know, if you can't get it again, the demand will only go up because no supply is going in. That's a pretty easy concept to understand. They don't understand how that transpires in RuneScape, where a free item that used to trade for 100K is now over 100 bill, like a party hat, like a white party hat or anything like that. And they also don't understand like how much 100 bill is. That is a ridiculous amount of money. Now going into the golden halo, this is one that's linked to challenges like being the first to 99, being the first to 120, quest cape, max cape. I've never met a new player that there was like, man, I want to get a tradable rare in RuneScape. I have no idea how this game works, but I want to get a tradable rare. I've never met anyone who had an incentive to get a tradable rare as one of their first things for trying RuneScape. It has always been the fact that they want to try it, but they don't want to invest the time to get to a point where they're playing where a majority of the community is playing or where their friends are playing. So time investment, the grind, skilling. Kind of taking a break from this point, the incentive that I do agree with is the faster leveling, the accelerated experience rates. It's a temporary event, 4 months long. You get your account as a main game afterwards, up to 4 times experience. It's nothing out of left field. We have double XP 4 times a year. Heavy MTX all throughout the year. RuneScape 3 is a different game than it was years ago. And I've come to terms with that. This is totally fine with me. The only drawback is that it could lead to burnout for someone who's used to these experience rates and all of a sudden they realize what the true grind is when it's over. But it's pretty clearly stated that these are experience rates that are boosted. So I essentially agree with that. But with that being said, competition wise, I've never played a game for the first time and wanted to be a top 1 player. Never been my incentive. I never wanted to be the first to 99 a skill when I started RuneScape. Honestly, when I first started RuneScape, I didn't care about a blue party hat because I had no idea what it was. And then if it wasn't like a mithril scimitar, which was like my most prized item at the time, I wouldn't want it because it offers me no value. So rares, racing to be the first of a game that I don't understand, that's not an incentive as a new player. That is an incentive for a veteran player because veterans know how this game works. Veterans know how to play efficiently. Veterans want to be number 1 after they've completed everything. They've maxed everything. What's the other goal that they want to do? They want to be the first at something. Like once the 200 mil experience is earned in a skill, you're locked in place at a high score. This is an opportunity to be number 1. This is an incentive for veterans. This is not for new players. The other thing that I'm slightly bothered that it requires a new account. The only gripe that I have is that there's no way for me to use my existing account to earn the tradable rewards. I have to buy a new account, and I've supported RuneScape for 18, 19 years. I buy the Premier Club every single year. I did it with bonds for the first time last year. That money of bonds came from someone else. Money still being invested into the membership, whether I pay for it through in-game gold or my own cash. And honestly, if I buy it with bonds, then someone spent more on those bonds than I would spend cash to actually get the membership itself. I've supported this game for so long. So the fact that I'm required to pay to get these things that incentivize me as a veteran, then it's just kind of a slap in the face. Obviously, I don't have to do it. Like there's nothing requiring me to do it, and I'm not going to do it in its current state. This whole thing is marketed as for new players only, and that's obviously not true. That is something that really, really rubs me the wrong way. When it comes to the other things like the boosted drop rates and things like that for uniques, that is a concern of a lot of players. It's not really a major concern for me, honestly, because the experience of this is starting from scratch, economy from 0. Grand Exchange has no items or cash in it. Everybody's starting from 0. And if this is truly to attract new players, yes, there's going to be experienced vets playing efficiently. A lot of these new players not only won't have as much time as these vets do, or won't invest as much time as these vets do, but the time that they do invest, they have no idea how to play compared to someone who's been playing for years. So they're not going to be doing things efficiently. The materials that they gather is going to be nowhere near the rates that a vet would be able to gather them at. So it's going to have an effect. I'm not too sure. But a 20% drop rate increase is also pretty huge. So if a vet rushes to get to hard mode care pack and they just farm a whole bunch of FSOAs, that could be an issue. We won't know until that happens. The other things like these cosmetics, it bothers me that I can't get them, but the fact that they're tradable is fine. The main cosmetics are these, and it's not because they're only obtainable in the mode. It's because of how this whole entire thing is marketed, and it's just the main thing I have is that this whole thing is marketed. I just feel like Jagex thinks I'm a dumb player that has no idea what they're advertising to. They say on the surface it's only for new players, but these are obviously 2 cosmetics that are catered towards veterans and are meant to pique the interest of veterans, especially the Halo of Returning, because it's directly referencing an item that only veterans would understand the value of. It bothers me extra because I'm no psychologist, but I believe that was an intentional thing. That is an intentional design without saying that they want to pique your interest, that it will pique your interest. I don't know if that was the proper way to say that, but they know that the effect of these 2 cosmetics are going to have. They know it's going to have effect on the veterans. It's going to incentivize the veterans to pay. It feels like they're trying to get one under me. So that's the thing that bothers me. All in all, to wrap this whole thing up, the idea, great. But my solutions that I would suggest are 1, remove everything and just make it leveling. That is the main and probably that's probably like 90% of the concern of anyone who has never tried the game or who went on a long hiatus. The fact that they couldn't level up fast enough. Experience rates boosted, great idea. Keeping your items at the end, that's fine as well. I have no problem with that. The other thing that I would say would be different is we know that they have the technology to make it so we have a shard of ourselves, like an instance of our account on a separate world with Darkscape. They've done it with old school RuneScape leagues where you log onto your account, but whenever you log into a league's world, it's a different account or it's a different experience. They even mentioned in the live stream that they have that technology. Like it's not that like they don't. They want to incorporate it with the launcher, but that's a topic I don't really understand. But essentially, there is a possibility to do that. So if they made it a possibility so that I could log on the account that I've already paid for almost 20 years every single month, that would be great because this is supposed to be something that is celebrating 300 million accounts. It's not celebrating the accounts that are already created that made this 300 mil. The way that you're celebrating this is asking us to create more accounts and pay for them along the way. This doesn't feel like a celebration for any of us. We are not celebrating. I want to keep it there because this is something I feel very strongly about and I don't want to become too critical. But anyways, guys, that's all I have for the thoughts. If you have any constructive criticism, please drop it down below. I will respond to what I can. And yeah, that's all I have. I'm Rheyo. I'll see you next time. Take care.